Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Arcana Unearthed, as we are back after a week of madness, really, dealing with children's holidays and the like. So apologies that we didn't have a stream last week. I was slightly caught off guard by how chaotic the children's holidays were going to be, but we're back to have a look at Arcana Unearthed, or rather Unearthed Arcana. I still kind of regret naming the show Arcana Unearthed. I'm always getting confused as which way around it should be, but just for those that have not tuned in, this is the show where we are looking at the latest playtest material for Dungeons & Dragons, and keeping an eye on what it is that Wizards of the Coast are up to. This is actually in relation to Playtest 8, which you can find a link in the description below if you did want to follow along, but I will bring it up on screen for you as well. This is particularly looking at the new Bastion system, which Wizards of the Coast are introducing to 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons as per 2024. As part of the new Dungeon Master's Guide, and this is kind of the first kind of sneak peek we've had at the Dungeon Master's Guide and what's going to be in it for 2024, and they have given us a plethora of options for essentially creating and upgrading a stronghold, and we'll be taking a look at some of those upgrades today as part of the episode. We did in our last episode take a look at some of the options as well, so if this is your first time watching, I'd recommend going and have a look at the last two Bastion-based episodes of this as well, to check that out. But in the meantime, let's take a look at what we've got. So I believe last time we got to the observatory. We just finished the menagerie. So we're now taking a look at the observatory. Now these are the special facilities that are available for you as part of your creating and upgrading of your bastion, and these are the things that give you special abilities in order to generate what they're calling bastion points, which is essentially a meta currency that can be used to purchase magic items and possibly even some other things too, and you generate those on a weekly basis as you're going through the game. And you get to upgrade your bastion, which then gives you more abilities and more options available to you. And they're kind of a mechanism for you to be able to utilize some kind of downtime mechanics without necessarily having to take a break and having to take a little bit of downtime. So we'll be looking at the observatory then to begin with, which is the level 13 bastion facility. So you will need to be level 13 before you get access to this. The prerequisite for this is the ability to use a spellcasting focus. It is a roomy space, because part of the bastion system, of course, is upgrading your bastions and mapping your bastions. So you can have your own little map. So this takes up 16 squares of space on your map. Rather than doing it in feet, they've done it in squares, which makes sense because when you're mapping it out, actually the feet is probably less important than the actual square surface area. It comes with one hireling. Again, if you're new to the Bastion system, as a player you get to create the NPC that is the hireling, kind of free of too much DM meddling, shall we say. And this gives you the option to utilize the Empower order. So once every 7 days, you as a player get to issue your Bastion with an order, or one of your special facilities with an order, which will grant you certain benefits. So with the Empower order, this will usually give you some sort of buff or extra feature that you can utilize as part of your character and their Bastion. And this will generate you 1d8 Bastion points, which again is a meta currency that you can use as part of generating magic items and possibly some other things too. Now I was listening to Sly Flourish, and they came up with an interesting point which actually does kind of would alleviate one of my gripes a little bit with the Bastion system, which I have very few, by the way. There are just some significant gripes I have. But one of the points that they made out, which hadn't really occurred to me, which then kind of everything started to make a little bit of sense for me, was, do we need a meta currency here? Why can't the Bastions just simply generate gold? Because you're using gold to buy magic items anyway in-game, and people are complaining that we don't have enough things to spend our gold on. So why give us another currency that we can only spend on magic items when we have gold, which is going to render gold even less meaningful, because one of the things that a lot of dungeon masters will do in order to alleviate the bad economics of 5th edition is go, okay, well, here's a way of purchasing some magic items, so now you can use your gold. And the bastions are kind of meant to be a way of kind of investing your gold in a way that's going to be profitable. So why not just generate gold rather than a new meta currency? But anyway, as it currently stands, it will generate bastion points, which is a meta currency, which is fine. And so, situated atop your bastion, your observatory contains a powerful telescope aimed at the night sky. You can use your observatory to peer into the far corners of wild space and the astral plane, if not the heavens. Whenever you spend an entire long rest in your observatory, you can cast Contact Other Plane once within the next 7 days without expending a spell slot. Now, I like that this is kind of like, you can cast it, but you don't have to cast it now. And I do also like the Contact Other Plane spell, which, if you're not familiar, is a little bit like the Commune spell, except it doesn't necessarily have to be linked to a god. And it gives you a few more options. So the Contact Other Plane spell, you mentally contact a demigod, a spirit of a long-dead sage, or some other mysterious entity from another plane, and contacting this extraplanar intelligence can strain or even break your mind. So when you cast the spell, you make a DC 15 intelligence saving throw, and on a failure, you take 6d6 psychic damage and are insane until you finish a long rest. And while insane, you can't take actions, can't understand what other creatures say, can't read, speak only in gibberish, and a Greater Restoration spell cast on you ends this effect. On a successful save, when you actually achieve what you wanted to achieve, you can ask an entity up to 5 questions. And you must ask your questions before the spell ends. It's a duration of a minute. And the GM then answers the questions on behalf of that entity with one singular word, either yes, no, maybe, never, irrelevant, or unclear. Although apparently those are only examples, so they can use other words if they prefer. So it's a way of kind of divining, essentially. So when you issue this Empower order to the facility, you also enable yourself or the facility's hireling to explore the eldritch mysteries of the stars for 7 consecutive nights. And at the end of that time, you roll a die. If the number rolled is even, then nothing is gained. If the number rolled is odd, then an unknown power bestows one of the following supernatural charms on you or another creature of your choice that is on the same plane of existence. Which is the Charm of Dark Vision, the Charm of Heroism, and the Charm of Vitality. Now, I must admit, I'm not too familiar with these charms. I imagine the Charm of Dark Vision provides you with Dark Vision. But the Charm of Heroism I'm not familiar with. That says it is spelled out in the Dungeon Master's Guide. So the Charm of Dark Vision allows you to cast a Dark Vision spell as an action with no components required. And once used 3 times, the charm goes away. Charm of Heroism gives you the benefit of a potion of heroism, which is 10 temporary hit points, and you're under the effect of the Bless spell. And the Charm of Vitality gives you the benefit of a potion of vitality, which is it removes any exhaustion. And for the next 24 hours, you regain the maximum number of hit points for any hit die you spend. So that's pretty handy too. So a nice way to utilize charms, which, I mean, I'm a forever DM, and as I say, I was not really familiar with the charms, so it I think goes to show how infrequently these things can come up. So a nice way of kind of including that in the game as well, and kind of finding a use for those, which is pretty nice. So that is the Observatory. A very nice little addition of tapping into some things which may not necessarily get enough love in a standard D&D game, and I quite like that. And this is where I'm liking the Bastion rules, I've got to admit. It is kind of utilising things that otherwise probably wouldn't get much love in a lot of games, and this is kind of a way for the players to kind of tap into those things and give the DM a nudge in the right direction as to what it is they like in their games. So I'm liking that at the moment. Then we move to the pub, which is another level 13 Bastion facility, so you are required to be level 13 before you can add this onto your Bastion. There are no prerequisites for this, so anybody can have a pub. It's a roomy space, so 16 squares. It comes with a hireling and allows you to do the research order, which is about gathering information. and also generates 1d8 bastion points for you as well. So this is kind of like that rogues facility where they've kind of got the bar for a front for gathering information. Is kind of how I'm taking this. So folks come here to consume tasty beverages and socialise. Your pub might be a bar, coffee shop or tea room, and it might have a colourful name such as the Rusty Flagon or the Dragon's Loft. The facility's hireling, who serves as the bartender, maintains a network of spies scattered throughout nearby communities. These spies are useful sources of information and frequent the pub, often incognito. When you issue the research order to this facility, you commission the pub's bartender to gather information from spies who are aware of all important events happening within 10 miles of your bastion over the next 7 days. During that time, these spies can divulge the location of any creature that is familiar to you, provided the creature is within 50 miles of your bastion and not hidden by magic or confined to a location that the DM deems to be beyond the spy network's ability to locate. This is pretty cool. If the spies learn the target's location, they also learn where that creature has been for the previous 7 days. Now, this is pretty cool. It could be problematic for a DM who's got a missing persons plot, such as we have in our Monday Night Shattered Obelisk game. One of our players, a big part of their storyline is, where is my brother? I've been looking for my brother. Now, granted, I'm probably not expecting to drag that out until level 13, but if I were to, then this is a way for him to kind of mechanically learn the location of his brother, potentially, and find him. Again, within 50 miles, so there's some limitations. But I like this. Again, it's a kind of a way of... look, as a forever DM, I like when the game throws some spanners my way and kind of makes me have to rethink some things because the players have come up with some abilities or even some genius ideas that kind of make me rethink and kind of put me on the back foot. I find that really, really exciting, and this is a nice way of doing that. And not just, of course, missing allies, but enemies too. So this could be very fun. I really like this as a mechanic. In addition, the pub has one magical beverage on tap, chosen from the options in the pub special table, which is just below. Between bastion turns, you can switch to one of the table's other options, so you're ordering in a magical brew of some kind. Your DM may create new options and allow them to become available to you. So we have Bigby's Burden. Drinking this beverage grants you the enlarge effect of an enlarge or reduce spell that has a duration of 24 hours, for which you get no saving throw. Ooh, very cool. The Kiss of the Spider Queen. Drinking this beverage grants you the effect of a spider climb spell that has a duration of 24 hours. Very nice. A Moonlight Serenade. Drinking this beverage gives you dark vision within 60 feet for the next 24 hours. If you already have dark vision, this range is extended by 60 feet for the same duration. Also very good. I'm playing an Out of the Abyss game once a month at the moment, and one of the players has got 120 foot dark vision, and that has really been quite a game changer. So that's pretty handy. Positive Reinforcement. Drinking this beverage gives you resistance to necrotic damage for the next 24 hours. And Sterner Stuff. Drinking this beverage makes you immune to the Frighten condition for the next 24 hours. So these are all pretty cool, all of which kind of have a magical effect that lasts for 24 hours, which is pretty nice. I like that, the kind of special pub. The pub is pretty beefy, actually, as a special facility. So enlarging the pub. You can enlarge your pub to a vast facility by spending 2,000 gold pieces. If you do so, the pub has 2 magical beverages from the pub special table on tap at a time. The vast pub gains 3 additional hirelings for a total of 4. These new hirelings are servers. Assign them names and personalities to them. So the enlarging of the pub just doesn't grant much mechanical benefits other than an additional beverage that you can then add to the facility. So that's a pub, which I'm quite a fan of. That's got to be one of my favourites so far. The Reliquary, another level 13 Bastion facility. It does have a prerequisite, so you need to be able to use a Holy Symbol or Druidic Focus as a spellcasting focus. So arguably then that's going to be a Cleric, a Paladin, or a Druid. I don't think anybody else. It comes with 1 Hireling. It is cramped, so it's quite small. I can't quite remember how small exactly for a cramped one. A cramped one is 4 squares. So this is a... If it was a square room, then it'd be 10 by 10 foot. It allows you to harvest something, and you get 1d8 Bastion points for doing so. So this vault holds sacred objects that reinforce your religion. Whenever you spend a long rest in your Bastion, you can cast Greater Restoration once within the next 7 days without expending a spell slot or using material components. Greater Restoration, that's nice. I don't think too powerful, though, at 13th level. I don't think... yeah, Greater Restoration at 13th level should really not be too powerful, so no bugbear there, no pun intended. When you issue the Harvest Order to this facility, you commission the facility's hireling to produce a specially prepared talisman for your use. The talisman usually takes the form of an amulet, a rune-carved box, or a statuette, but it can be any tiny, non-magical object that has religious significance. The work takes 7 days and costs no money. You can use this talisman as a spellcasting focus, ignoring any of the spell's material components, including ones that have a cost of 1,000 gold pieces or less. The talisman can be used in this way only once, and then it must be returned to your reliquary. Another Harvest Order prepares it for use again. So what we're saying here, I mean, let's be really meta here. What we're saying here is that every 7 days, for 0 cost, for every 7 days at 0 cost, you can have the material components for a resurrection spell. Now, I don't think a cleric's going to get resurrection at level 13. Let me see. Resurrection is a 7th level spell, so a cleric is going to get access to resurrection at 13th level. Okay, so at this point then, what it's saying is that every 7 days you can cast resurrection essentially for free, aside from using the spell slot. I mean, I don't have a huge issue with that. You see, I've been getting a bit of pushback on my view on the respawn mechanic of the bastions. I don't have too much of an issue with this because you do have access to the resurrection spell as a cleric at level 13. This is just a mechanism for you being able to cast it without the need for a material component, which I quite like, actually. That's the way I like these things to work. Is okay. There's a roadblock in the way for you accessing a certain thing, but we're going to give you an ability to remove that friction and remove that roadblock. I like that. It kind of feels like a moot point, though, if you have as many bastion points as you probably do have at 13th level, wherein you can just resurrect for free and respawn. Courtesy of just having a bastion in the first place. It kind of undermines this feature in my mind, but there we are. I prefer this to the resurrection mechanic that it exists by virtue of just simply having a bastion. But this I like. This I don't have a problem with. So yeah, nice. A nice little mechanic there to eradicate. I mean, there are other spells obviously that have material components that cost 1,000 gold pieces or less. Many more spells. But let's be honest. As soon as I saw the 1,000 gold pieces, I was like, I know what this is for. They're pretty cool. I like it. The Sacristy. Now, this is a level 9 bastion facility, so this is a little less powerful, probably. You do need, again, the ability to use a holy symbol or druidic focus. So, again, clerics, paladins, and druids. This is a roomy room, so it's 16 squares total area. Comes with 1 hireling and allows you to craft something, and also provides you with 1d6 bastion points as per any level 9 bastion facility. So a sacristy serves as a preparation and storage room for the sacred items and vestments of your religion. Having a sacristy allows you to regain one expended spell slot of level 5 or lower after spending an entire short rest in your bastion, and you can't gain this benefit again until you finish a long rest. When you issue the craft order to this facility, choose one of the following options. You can craft holy water. Very handy. Again, going back to my Shattered Obelisk game, we did have a bit of a side quest that the party sent themselves on in the hunt for holy water, so this would have been very handy for them. Of course, they weren't level 9, so actually they wouldn't have had access to it anyway, but that's beside the point. You commission the facility's hireling to craft a flask of holy water, or you do the work yourself. The work takes 7 days and costs nothing. You can spend gold pieces during the creation process to increase the potency of the holy water. For every 100 gold pieces you spend, up to a maximum of 500 gold pieces, the damage dealt by the holy water increases by 1d6. So it's super holy water. Cool. Or you could craft a sacred item. Very nice. You can commission the facility's hireling to craft a temporary magic item, the properties of which last for 7 days. Or you do the work yourself. Choose the item from the following list: a Pearl of Power, a Periapt of Wound Closure, which is very cool, a Ring of Water Walking, let me try that again, a Ring of Water Walking, a pair of Sending Stones, which are also very useful, a Staff of the Adder, Staff of the Python, or a Wand of Magic Detection. The work takes 7 days and costs you 200 gold pieces. Now, I like this. It's kind of crafting a magic item, but it's only temporary, so you're only going to get the benefits of it for 7 days. Those are the sorts of levers and switches that I like Wizards of the Coast tweaking. So it's like, you get this cool thing, but it's not as cool as spending the amount of time and effort that you would have to actually craft it normally. So again, I think that's quite thoughtful. Some cool magic items there, like the Wand of Magic Detection, the Ring of Water Walking, all very cool little magic items, but temporary. I like that. Again, another win. Another point in the win column for the Bastion system. So now we have the Sanctuary, which is a level 5 Bastion facility. And if you've not been following along with the Bastion system, a level 5 Bastion facility means that this is a special facility that you can have as soon as you get your Bastion, because you would get it at level 5. So this is one of the options that you can add on from the very beginning. So this does come with a prerequisite. Again, this is for clerics, paladins, and druids, because you need to use or be able to use a holy symbol of or druidic focus as a spellcasting focus. It's a roomy room, so 16 squares, comes with one hireling, and allows you to craft something, as well as generating 1d4 bastion points for you every 7 days. Icons of your religion are displayed in this facility, which includes a quiet place for worship or spiritual practice. The Sanctuary imparts the following benefit: Cast Healing Word. When you can draw on the power of your Sanctuary to heal yourself or another. After spending a long rest in your bastion, you can cast Healing Word once within the next 7 days without expending a spell slot. The spell's level is half your level rounded down. Now, I like this thing that's coming up here of like, you've got this extra ability that you get to use once, not within the next day, but within the next week. So it's just kind of a little extra resource. And once every 7 days, or once within the next 7 days, is not like... I don't think that's overly powerful. It's just a little bit of an extra boon for going back and visiting your bastion, which is pretty cool. Again, I'm really actually liking, generally, the bastion system and everything that they're coming up with. And this is just another nice little nugget of goodness that you get for having a bastion. And it doesn't feel too overly powered or too lame. And I don't mean lame as in it's rubbish, but lame as in just kind of like it's just a sucky idea. But they're generally knocking this out of the park so far for my taste, with the help of some minor tweaks perhaps. When you issue the craft order to this facility, it produces a sacred focus. So you commission the facility's hireling to craft a druidic focus, a wooden staff, or a holy symbol. The work takes 7 days and costs no money, and the item remains in your bastion until you claim it, or you can have it sold for 5 gold pieces. So this is just a way for you to generate more money, or if, for example, you happen to have lost your druidic focus or your holy symbol, or for whatever reason you don't actually have one. Maybe you decided, I can use spell components, and then you've kind of got a bit bored of spell components, whatever. So this is just another way to generate some gold. And it comes back to what I was saying earlier. I don't really understand why we need bastion points when gold points will do, but there we are. Just cut out the middleman, get rid of the bastion points, and just have your bastion just generate gold instead. People might disagree with me on that, though, so do let me know what you think in the comments. Do you like the bastion points? Would you prefer gold? I think I prefer gold, but I'm happy to be corrected on that. I just don't think we need another meta currency. Sanctum, a level 17 bastion facility. So this is going to be one of the later ones that you get. Again, this is a running theme today. Cleric, Paladin, Druid, because you need to be able to use a Holy Focus or a Druidic Focus as a spellcasting focus. Is roomy room, so 16 squares. Comes with 4 hirelings. And you get the Empower Order, which is going to give you some boons or buff you in some way, and also generate 1d10 bastion points. A Sanctum is a place of solace and healing. When you issue the Empower Order to this facility, you inspire its hirelings to perform daily rites that benefit you or another player character of your choice. Each time the beneficiary finishes a long rest, they gain temporary hit points equal to your level. This is very cool. This effect lasts for 7 days. This is a nice little thing, just issuing temporary hit points for 7 days. And it's only one character that you get to give this to, and it can be yourself. The Sanctum also imparts the following benefits. Cast Heal. When you spend a long rest in your bastion, you can cast Heal once within the next 7 days without expending a spell slot. So again, going back to that kind of free spell that you get to use once during the 7 days. And Sanctum Recall. When you cast Word of Recall, which I must admit is a spell I'm not overly familiar with. When you cast Word of Recall, you can make your Sanctum the destination of the spell instead of another place you have previously designated. In addition, one creature of your choice that arrives in the Sanctum via the spell gains the benefit of a heal spell. So I'm guessing World of Recall is like a way of teleporting something back. Let's have a look. You and up to 5 willing creatures within 5 feet of you instantly teleport to a previously designated sanctuary. Yeah, okay. I won't read much more than that. In terms of the specific mechanics, I think we can kind of work most of that out. But the idea is it's just kind of like the Hearthstone in World of Warcraft. Oh, I just compared. Oh, hello, Stephen. Good morning. Didn't see you there. Love the Bastion system. Still basic, but it's got potential. Actually, a great way to design NPCs for a DM. Yes, I agree, Stephen, actually. I do think it's quite a basic system. Though that being said, they are giving 20 pages here to it, so that's going to be 20 pages in the Dungeon Master's Guide to a new system. So I am liking that. I'd like to see them introduce more systems like this, and I hope it's kind of what they're going for with the 2024 Dungeon Master's Guide. Because also, yes, it's a basic system, but you can imagine when they're releasing a new book of like, and by the way, we're going to introduce 2 new special facilities with this theme in mind. And they seem to be doing more themed books. So you can imagine like a Fizban's Treasury of Dragons, for example, maybe having a dragon pit or a dragon hatchery, wherein I don't know what they might do with that, but you can see the potential of it. So I am really liking it as a system. I agree. I think it's generally really very good. And yes, a great way to introduce new NPCs for Dungeon Master. And also, and I think this is kind of the design intent, an opportunity for players to play around with being a Dungeon Master and creating some NPCs themselves. Cool. So the Scriptorium. This is a cool one. Level 9 Bastion facility. A roomy room, no prerequisites, so anybody can have this. 1 hireling and allows you to craft something for 1d6 Bastion point generation. So a scriptorium contains desks and writing supplies. When you issue the craft order to this facility, choose one of the following options. I can see where this is going. So you can craft a book replica. You commission the facility's hireling to make a copy of a non-magical book. Doing so requires a blank book, and the work takes 7 days. Okay, interesting. I don't really know what mechanical benefit that provides, but I'm sure from a narrative perspective, somebody can come up with something. Cool. Craft paperwork. You commission the facility's hireling to create up to 50 copies of a broadsheet, a pamphlet, or another loose leaf paper product. The work takes 7 days and costs you 1 gold piece per copy. At no additional cost in time or money, the facility's hireling can distribute the paperwork to one or more locations within 10 miles of your bastion. Again, not necessarily a huge mechanical benefit, but from a narrative perspective, I mean, imagine this is a way for a bastion owner to perhaps get involved in a little bit of politics locally, and you can imagine kind of unleashing some propaganda onto the locations 10 miles within your bastion. Could be quite fun. Stephen has already designed a pirate ship for a Dragonboard Paladin. Nice. Yeah, I've yet to have an opportunity to utilize the Bastion and playtest them myself, but it's very tempting at the moment. You can also craft a scroll. You commission the facility's hireling to craft a magic scroll, as described in the Dungeon Master's Guide, which is kind of an obvious use for this, but I like it. Or you can craft it yourself. In the case of a spell scroll, the spell on the scroll must be one you can prepare. The work takes 7 days. The craft scroll table shows the minimum level one must be to craft a scroll of a particular rarity and cost of the supplies needed. For the purposes of crafting scrolls, your hireling's level is half your own level, rounded up. Now, I'm not going to take the time to compare this against the Dungeon Master's Guide. Oh no, actually, do you know what? I am going to. Let me see. Craft scroll. That's in the Dungeon Master's Guide, isn't it? Let me have a quick gander here, because I am intrigued. This will be in other downtime activities. I would have thought more downtime activities. Is it craft? Oh, is it craft a magic item? Let's compare it to craft a magic item anyway. Okay, it seems to be just short of half the cost. I can't see this scroll one, but I think I'm looking in the wrong place, if I'm 100% honest with you. It did say the Dungeon Master's Guide, though, so I can't see anything in here, but I'm guessing it's with the... I mean, I do know this, because I've ran this through with my players, which is why I raced over here, but I think I might be looking in the wrong place. But if I'm not looking in the wrong place, the cost of crafting a magic item seems to be half the cost, as per the Dungeon Master's Guide, or just over, probably about 40% of the cost, thereabouts. So that's quite nice. Very cool. And an obvious use of a scriptorary. Is that what they're calling it? A scriptorium, sorry. A good use of that. And again, a lot of the design idea behind the whole Bastion system is about allowing players to tap into the downtime activities when they may not necessarily be actively getting downtime, because they're off adventuring. Then we have the smithy. This is going to be a fairly obvious one, I would have thought, but it's a level 5 Bastion facility, meaning you can get access to it when you first get it. It does require a fighting style feature or unarmored defense feature, so this isn't something that anybody can have. You essentially need to be a fighter of some kind. It's a roomy room, so 16 squares. Comes with 2 hirelings and naturally allows you to issue the craft order, which generates you 1d4 Bastion points as well. The smithy contains a forge, an anvil, and other tools needed to craft weapons and tools. And when you finish the craft order to this facility, when you issue it, sorry, you could choose one of the following options. So you can craft ammunition or a simple weapon. You commission the facility's hireling to craft up to 20 pieces of ammunition or one simple weapon, which takes 7 days and costs you half the normal price of the ammunition or weapon. You can commission a masterwork simple weapon, which takes 14 days and costs you a total of 800 gold pieces. Masterwork simple weapon has no special properties until a magic weapon spell is cast on it. When that spell ends, the Masterwork weapon retains the magic permanently, becoming a +1 weapon. That's very cool. I like that. Crafting armor or equipment. You can commission the facility's hirelings to craft one of the following: a suit of medium or heavy armor, excluding hide, which I guess is because that's something that a leather worker would presumably do. 20 caltrops, a chain of 10 feet, a crowbar, a grappling hook, a hammer, regular or sledge, 4 horseshoes, a hunting trap, a set of manacles, a miner's pick, 10 iron spikes or pitons, an iron pot, a metal shield, or a shovel. The work takes 7 days or 21 days for a suit of armor and costs you half the item's normal cost. Or you can craft a martial weapon. You commission the facility's hirelings to craft a martial weapon, which takes 14 days and costs you half the weapon's normal cost. Or a Masterwork martial weapon, which takes 21 days and costs you 800 gold pieces. And again, the Masterwork martial weapon has got no special properties until a magic weapon spell is cast on it, and then it becomes a +1 weapon. Very nice. Again, nice and simple way of people being able to get hold of the bits and pieces that they want without necessarily having to participate in downtime. And again, that's a level 5 Bastion facility. Very nice. And this kind of philosophy of like trying to get more out of downtime activities, I'm really liking. Do you know what? I like downtime activities, but there is a certain part of players, I think, that feels as though downtime activities can be a waste of game time, and I can understand that. And often a lot of players and DMs will opt to run downtime away from the table, particularly in this modern age we have of being able to contact people outside of game through Discord and the like. So people tend not to utilize it at the game table, which I think is a shame, because I do really like the downtime rules, and I think there is a good role-playing opportunity there. But this kind of justifies those things happening away from the table, I think, because at the end of a session, your DM can go, oh, by the way, you've had your 7 days since your last Bastion turn, so if you'd like another Bastion turn, send me your orders between sessions, and we'll sort it all out and do all of the bookkeeping that we need to do that way. And if we want to do some RP over Discord, then we can. So I like it. A stable. This is very cool. Level 9 Bastion facility. No prerequisites, which means anyone can have one, and it's a roomy room, so 16 squares, comes with one hireling, and actually allows you to issue the trade order, which is buying and selling of things, which generates you 1d6 Bastion points. So a Bastion can have more than one stable, each of which comes with one riding horse or camel and 2 ponies or 2 mules. The facility is big enough to house 3 large animals. The 2 medium creatures occupy the same amount of space as one large creature. The facility's hireling looks after these creatures. After a beast that can serve as a mount spends at least 14 days in this facility, all wisdom animal handling checks made with respect to it have advantage, as the animal becomes easier to handle, as it's essentially become a little bit domesticated or trained, or however you want to see it. When you issue the trade order to this facility, you commission the facility's hireling to buy or sell 1 or more mounts at normal cost, keeping the ones you buy in your stable. The work takes 7 days, and the DM decides what types of animals are available for purchase. Horses, ponies, and mules being the most common. The mounts and other animals table in the player's handbook gives standard prices for various mounts, including camels, horses, ponies, and mules. And when you sell a mount from your stable, the buyer pays you 20% more than the standard price. This profit increases to 50% when you reach level 13 and 100% when you reach level 17. You can enlarge your stable to a vast facility by spending 2,000 gold pieces, and if you do so, the stable is large enough to house 6 large animals. Now, obviously, there's an element of this. Most of what they're talking about here is just the buying and selling of these animals, these mounts and whatever. But obviously, one of the benefits of that when you return to your bastion is that you do have access then to a riding horse or whatever, without having to find somebody to be able to buy from. which is very, very nice. And a pretty handy thing to have, particularly in later stages of a campaign where you don't necessarily want to be wasting time trekking across the wilderness. And again, this is where things like leaning into wilderness exploration, I think, is beneficial to the game, because then the players get to utilize things like this and go, yay, look, I've skipped the wilderness thing. Which, you know, I know the wilderness issues of 5th edition. I love running wilderness travel and things like that, and 5th edition doesn't make it easy. But I like to run it so that when players invest in these things, it feels like they've achieved something. Certainly. So I'm also hoping that the Dungeon Master's Guide has lots of extra goodness for running wilderness exploration. Wizards of the Coast, if you're listening, that would be great. Thanks. Downtime activities is from Stephen again. Downtime activities are the perfect use for plot hooks. I agree 100%. What have your minions gotten into? What piece of lore did they find? Who did they bump into when they were doing work? 100%. And I love the, is it the rivalries system that they introduced in Xanathar's Guide to Everything? I really, really love that introduction of that for the plots. I love downtime. And I love that the downtime activities kind of allow you for a way of quickly kind of touching those bases, touching on those things, without necessarily bogging out too much downtime. I like downtime to be done in like 20-30 minutes and then it'd just be done. I'm trying to work out a very nice specific procedure for doing that, which I might publish at some point, that makes it flow nicely at the table rather than it being something that people like to do away from the table, but we'll see. So that was the stable. The storehouse, a level 5 bastion facility, so anybody can have it as soon as they have a bastion. Prerequisites none. Roomy room, so 16 squares, 1 hireling, allows you to trade, which generates 1d4 bastion points. This cool dark space is meant to contain trade goods. See the trade goods table in the player's handbook, but can hold almost anything. When you issue the trade order to this facility, its hireling spends the next 7 days procuring non-magical items that have a total value of 500 gold pieces or less and stores them in the storehouse, or the hireling uses those 7 days to sell goods in the storehouse. You bear the total cost of any purchases, and the maximum value of the items purchased increases to 2,000 gold pieces when you reach level 9, 5,000 when you reach level 13. The equipment chapter of the player's handbook has a table of common goods that can be bought. When you sell the goods from your storehouse, the buyer pays you 10% more than the standard price. This profit increases to 20% when you reach level 9, 50%. So what you're generating then, so you're going to pay the cost of the 500, but you're going to get 10%. So it's going to take you 14 days to generate 50 gold at level 5. I mean, fine, it's a way of generating gold, I suppose. But 50 gold is like a healing potion at level 5. I mean, look, fine. But 14 days feels like a lot. But do you know what? It's not bad. It's not bad. It just, I don't feel like a lot for 14 days of work. But there we are. But look, I mean, at the end of the day, being an adventurer pays well. So 50 gold over 14 days for, I mean, it's well known that the average wage within the world of D&D is like a 1 gold piece a week. So 15 gold pieces for 14 days work is actually a lot for the common man. Just not really for a level 5 adventurer, I guess. But anyway. Now, this is one of the ones that I'm really excited to look at. The teleportation circle. Actually, how many more do we have here? Okay, cool. So we'll finish the special facilities today, and then we'll look at the Bastion events, possibly on Friday, but it is the school holidays for my kids, so I don't know if I'll get another stream in this week, but certainly, if not, then next Monday, I definitely will. But we'll finish the special facilities for now. The teleportation circle, level 9, Bastion facility. No prerequisites, so you don't even need to be a spellcaster to have one. It's a roomy room, so 16 squares, 0 hirelings, but you do get the recruit order, which also generates you 1d6 Bastion points. Inscribed on the floor of this room is a permanent teleportation circle created by a teleportation circle spell. Each time you issue the recruit order to this facility, your bastion extends an invitation to a friendly mage or a friendly archmage if you are level 17 or higher. Roll any die. If the number rolled is odd, the invitee declines the invitation. You gain no benefit from having issued the order. If the number rolled is even, the invitee accepts the invitation and arrives in your bastion via your teleportation circle. This guest stays for 7 days. The guest won't help defend your bastion and departs immediately if the bastion is attacked. This is not where I thought the teleportation circle was going at all. While you are in the bastion, you can ask the visiting mage or archmage to cast one spell. In the case of the mage, choose a wizard spell of level 4 or lower. In the case of the archmage, choose a wizard spell of level 8 or lower. The spell might be one the visitor has prepared, or it might be written in a spell book. If the spell has one or more material components that cost money, you must pay for them before the spell can be cast. Okay, cool. So, just cast a spell, basically. But it could be any spell, level 4 or lower, or 8 or lower for a wizard. I mean, that's pretty cool, particularly given the fact that you don't need to be a spell. I think that's the thing. When you think teleportation circle, I think you assume that a spellcaster is going to have a teleportation circle, but you don't need to be a spellcaster to have it. So in that case, that can give you, if you're a heavily martial party, that can give you access. Maybe you don't have a wizard. Could give you access to some spells. So I like that. I like the flavour of that. That's not where I thought the teleportation circle was going to go. So a few things from Stephen come in. So if you've got 5 or 6 players at your table, you can all generate 50 gold or a healing potion every 14 days. That's a lot. Yeah, I mean, true. That is a lot. I suppose what I'm thinking is kind of opportunity costs, though. Of like how, what other things are you giving up having access to in order to do your 50 gold? 5 or 6 players, so we're still looking at 250 gold, maybe 300 gold, which I suppose is what probably equivalent to a uncommon magic item, I think, off the top of my head. Which I think is, yeah, I mean, that is a lot, but it's 14 days. It is 14 days, which if you think about how much gold a party might generate, a whole party might generate in 14 days of adventuring, that's still probably not that much, I would have thought. But I take your point. It could be a lot. I just don't know if the opportunity costs make it not that valuable of a choice. I don't know. I haven't playtested this, though, to be fair. I'd quite like to playtest it properly. I just don't have a game that I think it will work very well for at the moment. So, but yeah, I mean, maybe it could be. It's a fair amount. It's a fair amount. It's certainly enough to buy a half decent magic item after 14 days, I guess. Yeah. They need to get. Stephen's also saying they need to get rid of the word days and just make it every game week. I agree and disagree. I disagree because not every campaign is going to be working 2 weeks. Like most D&D games, certainly the published adventures are set in the Forgotten Realms, which they don't actually have weeks. They have 10 days. So I think by utilizing the word days, because I find, for example, in Xanathar's Guide to Everything, a lot of the downtime activities say it takes a working week. Which is like 7 days, I think, if I remember rightly, within Xanathar's Guide, and that just I find that confuses things. I prefer, because a week can mean a different thing to different campaign settings. I think I actually prefer 7 days personally, but your mileage may vary, Stephen. And yeah, whatever works for you. Everybody's got a different campaign setting, though, I think, which is why they're going for 7 days rather than weeks. But again, your mileage may vary. Yeah, some very good points, Stephen. Keep them coming. Really liking the back and forth here. So, the theatre for the bards in your party, although actually you don't need to be a bard. There are no prerequisites for it. It is a vast space, as you would expect for a theatre. Comes with 4 hirelings and allows you the Empower order, generating 1d6 bastion points, which the Empower order means you're probably going to get a buff of some kind. The theatre contains a stage, a backstage area where props and sets are kept, and a seating area for a small audience. When you issue the Empower order to this facility, its hirelings begin work on a theatrical production or concert. Rehearsals and other preparations take 14 days, followed by at least 7 days of performances. The performances can continue indefinitely until a new production gets underway, so they just keep repeating the same production. Which, if anybody has worked in producing theatre, I can tell you, is the recommended business model. A player character can contribute to a production in the following ways. They can be a composer or writer. A character can compose music or write a script for a concert or production that hasn't started rehearsals yet. This effort takes 14 days. They could be a conductor or director. A character who remains in the Bastion for the entirety of the production can serve as the concert's conductor or the production's director. A performer. A character who remains in the Bastion for the entirety of the rehearsal period can be a star performer in one or more of the performances. One of the theatre's hirelings can serve as an understudy for additional performances. There's attention to detail here that I, as a professional actor, I am very much appreciating. Yeah, I like the idea of this star performer for one or more performances, one night only, and then the understudy takes over. I like that. So at the end of a rehearsal period, each character who contributed to the concert or production can make a DC 15 Charisma performance check. If one or more of these checks checks succeed than fail, you and any other character who contributed to the concert or production each gain a theatre die. Interesting, which is a D6. This die increases to D8 when you reach level 13 and D10 when you reach level 17. At any point after the rehearsals end, a character can expend their theatre die to roll it and add the number rolled to one ability check, attack roll, or saving throw they make. If a character hasn't expended their theatre die before gaining another one, their first die is lost. So basically, it's bardic inspiration. I mean, I like it. I like the mechanic. I think it makes 100% sense. I just don't know why I'm not sure I like them. Not necessarily because I don't like it, but I just don't know if it will be confusing and it would just be easier to manage if they just simply called it each character gains bardic inspiration, wherein they get to add bardic inspiration to their dice roll. Because it's essentially the same mechanic, just with a different name. Again, people's mileage may vary. I don't have a problem with another resource. I kind of like dice pools and things like that. So I don't have a problem with it per se. I just think maybe it might just be easier for quality of life to just simply refer to it as bardic inspiration. But I like it. I like the theatre. I do. I love the theatre. So, how many more have we got? Because we are running out of time. We've got 3 or 4 more, I think. All right. So, the training area. A level 9 Bastion facility. Prerequisites here. You do need expertise in a skill, fighting style feature, or unarmored defense feature. So, basically, so long as you're probably not a casting class, you're probably going to be alright here. It is a vast space, comes with 4 hirelings, and does give you the Empower order, which generates 1d6 Bastion points. A Bastion can have more than one training area. A training area might be an open courtyard, a gymnasium, a musical dance hall, or a cleverly built gauntlet of traps and hazards. It might contain inanimate targets for weapon practice, padded mats, and other equipment. And one of the facility's hirelings is an expert trainer. The others serve as training partners. When a training area becomes part of your Bastion, choose one trainer from the expert trainers table. On each Bastion turn, you can replace that trainer with another one from the table, which, hiring and firing, that makes complete sense. So I don't have an issue with that switcheroo. When you issue the Empower order to this facility, the facility's hirelings conduct training exercises for the next 7 days. Any character who trains here for at least 8 hours on each of those days gains a benefit at the end of the training period. The benefit depends on which trainer is present in the facility, as noted in the expert trainers table. The benefit lasts for 7 days. So Battle Expert. Once per turn, when you take damage from an attack made with an unarmed strike or a weapon, you can reduce this damage by 1d4, provided you don't have the incapacitated condition. Once per turn for 7 days? That's pretty cool. For level 9. Okay, yeah, I don't think that's too OP. Skills Expert. You gain proficiency in one of the following skills of your choice: acrobatics, athletics, performance, sleight of hand, or stealth. And again, that's for 7 days. So again, that's not bad. I like that. Tools Expert. You gain proficiency in one musical instrument or tool of your choice. Again, for 7 days. And Unarmed Combat Expert. When you use an unarmed strike to damage a target, the attack deals an extra 1d4 bludgeoning damage on a hit. Also very cool, and I don't think too much for a level 9 Bastion facility either. And then the Weapon Expert. Choose a type of simple or martial weapon, such as a spear or longbow. If you aren't proficient with the weapon, you gain proficiency with it for the next 7 days. And if you already have proficiency with the weapon, you can use its mastery property for the next 7 days. Cool. That's very cool. I like that taps into the weapon mastery system. Training area, I think, makes sense for Bastion. I don't think there's anything too overpowered here for level 9. Some nice little features again for the benefits of having somewhere where you can train. I think makes total sense. Good use of the Bastion system to, again, tap into some of those training ideas. Without it necessarily... Because the training... I like the training rules for the downtime activities, but... for most campaigns, a lot of those things just take far too long. So I like the fact that they've come up with a way of training in certain things, but it only being a temporary benefit. So really, if you wanted to get the full benefit of training in those things, then that's where the training downtime activity comes, which I think is quite nice. So Stephen is saying, I also like Bastion points to be separate from gold. Okay, this is interesting. This is a debate that I keep having with myself, so nice to get some other views. Bastion points can be used for more things that gold can't be used for. Polibities of feats, ability score improvements, titles, prestige, and such. I confess I haven't fully moved all the way down through to everything with Bastions, like Bastions events and falls of Bastions and things like that. So there might be things that I am yet unaware of. I'm kind of doing this as kind of hot takey, so if there are other things for Bastion points to be spent on, then absolutely I see why they're there. I just like players having things to spend their gold on. So, but yeah, good to know, Stephen. Thank you. So where are we then? The trophy room. Level 9 Bastion facility, no prerequisites, is a roomy room, so 16 squares. One hireling allows the research order, which generates you 1d6 Bastion points. This room houses a collection of mementos such as weapons from old battles, gifts from benefactors, the mounted heads of slain creatures, trinkets plucked from dungeons and ruins, and trophies passed down from ancestors. When you issue the research order to this facility, choose one of the following options. Research lore. You commission the facility's hireling to research a topic of your choice, or you do the research yourself. The topic can be a legend, any kind of creature, or a famous object. The topic need not be directly related to items on display in the room, as the trophies provide clues to research a wide variety of other subjects. The work takes 7 days. When the research concludes, you obtain up to 3 accurate pieces of information about the topic that you were previously unknown to you. The DM determines what information is learned. I like that. I like that. Not what I was expecting, really, from a trophy room, but I do like this kind of research mechanic. I always find that really, really useful and a useful way of spending downtime. Oh, I see what you're saying, Stephen, about utilizing having the meta currency mean something else. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's cool. I think I'd agree. It's a nice use for Bastion points, offering titles and feats and things like that. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I can see that. Because gold probably wouldn't be appropriate in certainly in like issuing titles and feats and things. So yeah, I can see what you're saying with that. Fair point. Research trinket trophy. You commission this is again going back to the trophy room. You commission the facility's hireling to search for a trinket that might be of use to you. The work takes 7 days. When the research is completed or concluded, roll a die. If the number rolled is odd, the hireling finds nothing useful. If the number rolled is even, the hireling finds a trinket with a previously unknown magical property. You can decide what the trinket looks like or roll on the trinkets table in the player's handbook to determine its form. As a magic action, a creature can use the trinket to cast a particular spell requiring no components. Choose the spell from the following list: Clairvoyance, Death Ward, Find Traps, Locate Creature, Magic Weapon, Remove Curse, or Speak with Dead. Once used in this way, the trinket loses its magic. So it's basically a one-time use of one of those spells. For a level 9 Bastion facility, I don't think that's too bad. Okay, we've got 2 more of these. So we have the War Room, which is a level 17 Bastion facility. You do require a fighting style feature or unarmored defense feature. It's a vast space, and hirelings, says see below, that's interesting, allows you the recruit order, so bringing staff into your Bastion, and generates 1d10 Bastion points as per most level 17 Bastion facilities. So the War Room is where you plan military actions in consultation with an inner circle of loyal lieutenants, each one a battle-hardened veteran whose alignment matches yours. You start with 2 lieutenants, but can add more as described below. If your Bastion lacks facilities to house your lieutenants, they secure accommodations in the inn or settlements closest to your Bastion. Lieutenants don't count as Bastion defenders, but if your Bastion is attacked, see the Bastion events section at the end of the document, each lieutenant housed in your Bastion reduces by 1 the number of dice you roll to determine how many Bastion defenders are lost in the attack. The War Room contains war memorabilia. Yeah, that's such a hard word to say. The War Room contains war memorabilia plus a large table surrounded by enough chairs for you and your lieutenants. When you issue the recruit order to this facility, choose one of the following options. Recruit lieutenants. You gain 1 new lieutenant. You can have up to 10 lieutenants at any time. Assign names and personalities to them as you see fit. And you can recruit soldiers. You commission 1 or more of your lieutenants to assemble a small army. Each lieutenant can muster 100 guards. This is on the recruit order. Wow. I suppose this is level 17 though, right? Yeah, level 17. 100 guards. In 7 days to fight for your cause. Reduce that number to 20 guards if you want them to be mounted on riding horses. It costs you 1 gold piece per day to feed each guard and each horse in your army. Wherever your army goes, it must be led by you or at least one of your lieutenants, or else it disbands immediately. The army also disbands if it goes 1 day without being fed. Otherwise, the army remains until it is destroyed, or you command it to disband. You can't issue this recruit order again until your current army disbands or is destroyed. This is cool. I mean, it doesn't look as though there's much mechanics here for what to do with your army. So I suppose that's down to a little bit of DM fear. But this is cool. I'd like to see them expand upon what to do with an army, perhaps. Now we're kind of leaning into Kingdoms and Warfare from MCDM, which, you know, I think kind of pushed Wizards of the Coast to generate this Bastion rule system, to be honest. But, I mean, what we're looking at here is certainly a precursor to Warfare and things like that. So it'd be nice to see if they do anything with that. Past history tells me they probably won't do anything with it. But I like it, and it does give you food for thought as a DM on what to do with an army like that. Could be very cool, particularly if there's, I mean, you're probably not dealing with barons that have kind of done a coup at level 17, but could be cool. Could be cool. And we finish off then of these special facilities with the workshop, which is a level 5, bastion facility, which means you get it as soon as you get your bastion. The only prerequisite is that you need expertise in at least a skill. It's a roomy room, so 16 squares, comes with 2 hirelings, and allows you to craft something and generates 1d4 bastion points when you do so. This workshop is a creative space where all manner of useful items can be crafted. After spending an entire short rest in your workshop, you gain heroic advantage, which is inspiration, essentially. You can't gain this benefit again until you finish a long rest. When you issue the craft order to this facility, you commission the facility's hirelings to craft one tiny non-magical object that can be made using carpenter's tools, cobbler's tools, glassblower's tools, mason's tools, potter's tools, tinker's tools, weaver's tools, or woodcutter's tools. Examples include a costume, a gaming set, a musical instrument, a spellcasting focus, a bottle, a shoe, or a toy. The work takes 7 days and costs you nothing unless the item is worth 10 gold pieces or more, in which case you pay half the item's cost. Cool. I don't know if there's much in the way of benefits to that, I guess. Mostly, aside from the spellcasting focus, obviously, but I think mostly it's going to be roleplay benefits, and of course the ability to sell these things, I suppose, if you wanted to. So, fine. It's fine. But that is it in terms of the special facilities. We'll look at the Falls of Bastions and Bastion events, I think, next stream, and possibly take a look at some of these revised cantrips, maybe. We'll see. But feelings generally with the Bastion system are that it's pretty good. I'm thinking it's mostly solid. I have a few issues with a few things, but on the whole, this is a very solid system. Stephen is saying that they also need an arcane workshop for the steampunk gameplay. Sure, yeah, but I think this is what I was saying earlier when you said how much you liked the system but thought it was quite a basic system. This is where I can see additional books being released with additional special facilities that can be used, and kind of coming up with a new special facility for a bastion. It's got a lot of potential as a system, generally. I think it has got a lot of potential. And it's a new way of providing some nice character options. I like strongholds and fortresses as a part of D&D. Back when I started playing in 3rd edition, it was something that I really kind of remember looking in the books going, oh, that'd be really cool one day to have your own castle. Wouldn't that be cool? And this kind of provides you with a system for doing that does feed into the 5th edition systems really quite nicely. I think they've done generally a cracking job with this, and I think good on them for doing so. Again, some tweaks, so I'll be submitting to the survey and kind of giving my opinions on a few things. But I think generally it's a really, really good system that I'm really, really quite enjoying and quite liking, if I'm perfectly honest with you. So yeah, I mean, it's really, really good. I'm happy with it. And long may things like this continue. Again, I'm hoping that they also have some other things, some other goodies for us Dungeon Masters in the new Dungeon Masters Guide. I hope they have more systems that they're building in to the overall system. So yeah, I mean, I'd love to know people's thoughts as well in the comments if you are watching this on kind of replay. Do let us know what you think of the Bastion system and particularly of the special facilities. And we will look at the events and things, like how your Bastion can be attacked and things like that on the next stream, which might be Friday, but it's probably next Monday at around the same time. So do make sure, if you haven't done so already, to hit that subscribe button and the bell icon so you get notified of when we do the next live stream. And if you have found this video at least mildly entertaining, if not informative, then do be sure to smash that like button as well. It'd be nice to hit that 30 mark on a video, as we are still a fledgling channel, really, in reality. particularly as it pertains to live streams. Anyway, it's a fairly new format for us in terms of doing things like this and interacting with you guys as a community, both old and new members. So those that have tuned in for the first time, thank you very much for tuning in. And we'll have a look, as I say, at the 4 of your bastions and indeed bastion events during the next live stream. So that's going to be it from me today. Thank you very much for everybody tuning in. Thank you also, Stephen, for your comments in the chat. It's always nice to have a little bit of back and forth whilst I'm doing these live streams, so appreciate that. And yeah, I will see you for the next live stream. Cheers, guys.